ever since we started the magazine 10 years ago, we started traveling to Chicago. And Chicago was one of those cities that started showing us their leadership from a very early stage. The first interview that we made here in Chicago was like 13 years ago to Arturo Velázquez. And we went to interview him to that corner I think it was a restaurant that he had in a corner where he met with us and gave us this wonderful interview about his story on the machine and the machines and the rocolas and all those things that he was doing. And from then on, we had been very privileged to have a lot of good leadership examples here in Chicago. Not only that, the city of Chicago has been surprising for us all the time. I remember one of my first trips to Chicago, like maybe 14, 15 years ago, and I was walking on Michigan Avenue, and then I turned into that little Plaza of the Americas, and I saw a statue of Benito Juarez, and I say, my God, why Benito Juarez here in Chicago? I'm from Mexico, so that's a national hero there. So I say, wow, really Chicago is about Mexico, Mexicans, and Latinos, and it's a very open city. And that is one, along with many, many good Mexican food here. I have tried the best chiles rellenos that I ever had. Even in Mexico, I had them here in Chicago. So I cannot be more happy to be here. And in the magazine, we want to call ourselves professional collectors of successful stories. That's what we do in the magazine. That's what our profession is, and we do it with passion. And in these more than 10 years editing the magazine and finding stories about successful Latinos all over the country and profiling them in the pages of a magazine, we have also become admirers of them. Admirers of not only their lives and their success, but also the values, the families, the principles they work with in the everyday practice. And that is why we decided to create an award, because we wanted to establish and to present something that would transcend more than a published interview, something that would go more to the heart and more to the human spirits of all these people. And that's why we created the Maestro Award for Leadership. And we call it Maestro because we call that, it's a Spanish word, but we call that a musical director. And the job of a musical director is to get the best of his or her musicians and to extract the talent and create a beautiful symphony or a beautiful piece of music. And then that piece of music influences those who are listening to it and makes them happy. And I think that represents very much the work of a leader. So in Latino Leaders, we have many principles. One of it is publishing great stories. Second is promote leadership, and by promoting leadership, helping to create more leaders, especially in our community, which is growing and needs every day more and more committed leadership. Also to create a great a place for work for our employees and our writers and photographers and editors and designers and all the team that we work with. Of course, we're a business, so other of our objectives is to make money, but also having fun in the way and enjoying our ride in doing this magazine. So we have 5 great leaders here tonight that we are going to present an award, and a lot of them accompanying or being with us here to that. And these 5 are fantastic stories, I can tell you. We have an incredible visionary entrepreneur who has been making chicharrón for 30 years. We have a passionate lawyer who started from scratch with a dream on his head and nothing else. We have a devoted, tireless philanthropist who has been setting examples for many, many other leaders and helping those who have no resources. And we have a community young leader with a bright future and a bright practice. And of course, when you come to Chicago, you have to understand for the very beginning, which is not a difficult thing to do, you have to understand that leadership here has a name, and that is Richard Daley. Yeah. Let me tell you, let me tell you that this is one of the cities, probably the only city, in which I, as a publisher of a national magazine, have been with many members of the community, and the mayor of the city always comes as a very strong figure, supporting the community with admiration as a politician, with true leadership, commitment. And I am just really thrilled about all the stories that I've been hearing about the mayor of Chicago. And I'm very, very happy to have him here tonight with us, sharing these moments for the other 4 awardees that we want to present. But also we want to start and present the mayor of Chicago, of course, the very first award of the night. And this award, Mr. Mayor, is something that we created, and actually, let me tell you, you are the first non-Latino that is receiving this award from our magazine. So, without more introduction, I just want to ask Mr. Mayor, Mr. Richard Daley, to come here and address us. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And this is for you.
Oh, thank you.
And really, we really feel happy.
Okay. Thank you.
Here.
No, thank you very much, Jorge, for those kind remarks, and I want to thank you for this fine award on behalf of not only my family, but the entire city. And I'm very honored to be here at the 5th Annual Latino Leaders Conference. But you're also honoring the other members of the community. Carmen Velasquez, I mean, we talk about Chicago. You talk about the history of immigrants. This family has excelled. It's a story of immigrants, not just being a Mexican immigrant, but all immigrants coming here, a better way of life, giving to their children, their grandchildren, education, all the opportunities. Then in turn, his children and grandchildren giving back into the community. I mean, you talk about this city, and that's what this city is all about. And to Jesse Ruiz, head of the State Board of Education, a wonderful lawyer, one who gives back in the community. He's not only a professional, but he understands about public service. He understands about the community. And to me, it is a great opportunity for me to be working with him on behalf of the education that we have to improve not only in Chicago, but in the state of Illinois. And he is doing it. He is working with local boards of education. He is a reformer, and he understands from his own life how important education is to the children, not only the Latino community, but the entire state. To my good friend, Alexander Silva, he's on the CTA board. He's a great business leader. He's one who works very closely with me in regards to public transportation. And to me, that says a lot about giving back in the community. Great entrepreneur. He represents the Latino community as entrepreneurs. They're not takers. They give back. They're not takers. They give back. And to Manny Sanchez, what can I say? Manny's been a great lawyer, a good friend of mine, active in all types of civic boards and charities, giving back into the community. I'm very proud of this award because what this award represents is the city of Chicago. This city was founded by immigrants, and that's why I'm so strong about immigrants coming into our city. Our past, our present, and future. We want immigrants always to come into Chicago. If they don't want to come anyplace else, we want them here in Chicago. Because this city was founded by immigrants. And the immigrant community brings values. They come here. And Sandra, I want to wish you the best in your career. I think we just signed this. She's Colombian. We just signed a sister city agreement in Bogota, Colombia. I'm very proud of that. I'm one of the few Democrats that believes we should have a free trade agreement with Colombia because they have been the strongest allies of America for many, many years, and we should have that. And I hope we get it someday. We should get it immediately, but all the politics interferes with that. But there's so many good stories out there. Just think the person that, yes, maybe walks all the way from Mexico and comes here, and there's a story, and he gets here. Then he starts working 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, saves a little more money. Then all of a sudden, his wife comes, his children come. Then he has more children. Then he's working 3 jobs. Then all of a sudden, he wants to buy a bungalow. He buys a bungalow. Next day, he wants to buy a 2-flat. He buys a 2-flat. Immigrants in Chicago buy houses. It's amazing because they save, because they know they have to buy a home. And to me, their work ethic. And at the same time, they want to give their children a better education. The first of the family graduate from high school, first from college. Then all of a sudden, one more from graduate school, a doctor, a lawyer. And today, I'm sitting in the doctor's office, Northwestern Hospital. And you always have to get checkups. And a young woman walks in, and I look at her, and I say, "Where are you from?" She said, "I'm from Puerto Rico." I said, "How long have you been a doctor?" I thought she was about 18 years old, of course. I've been a doctor for a couple of years. And she told me a whole life story about how she became the first of her family and this and that. And I just looked back and I said, boy, what a great country. What a great city to hear the stories of people. And to me, we know we have violence. And violence isn't something new. Let's not figure it's new. There's always been violence, unfortunately. But the escalation of drugs and guns, this has changed everybody's lives. I don't care who you are. I don't care what country you are. And that's the thing. There's so many good stories that we cannot keep referring to bad stories. Every day we hear bad stories, there has to be a good story. And I'll tell you, I could go in the toughest community, the most difficult community, and there's a great story. There's somebody in there trying to help another child. There's someone in there trying to help a child, yes, maybe in juvenile court, maybe someone that went away, something happened, but there's always good stories. And we have to remind ourselves, we have to have faith and confidence in people. Yes, people fall. Yes, people slip. People make a lot of mistakes. But in the long run, it could be your child someday. And that's why we have to have a city with compassion and understanding, at the same time a determination that all our children should be educated, all of our children. And one of the greatest things I had here in Chicago recently is we went to a school in Little Village. And I had the ambassador from China there, and they're telling me how great their education is. We get to this school. He's standing there, and he sees mostly Hispanic children speaking Spanish, speaking English, then all of a sudden, they're reciting something in Chinese. He looks at them. Wow, could never happen in China, only in Chicago. It's amazing. He didn't know what to say. He can't believe they speak in 3 languages. He thought 2 languages. I said, no, we got 3 languages. And he went back and tried to convince trying to tell everybody in the government how these kids in Chicago, he couldn't understand. They're from Mexico, but they're speaking 3 languages. And what is that all about? Opportunities for these kids. Because opportunities, 3 languages, great opportunities. And that's what this is all about. It was about opportunities. I thank you for this award. I thank you for the opportunity of this city, and historically has always had Latinos. You go back in the history of this city, there's always been Latinos here. And we're very proud of the community. We're proud of what you've accomplished, what you continue to accomplish to make this city, this state, and this country, and the world a better place. Thank you very much.